David Forst is with us, so we got $10 on $10 beers.
I'm in.
$14 specialty cocktails.
I'm in.
I'll put the credit card down. What do you want?
Let's get through the interview first, and then we can start drinking.
It is on me. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, and just talking with David Feldman. And I always think it's interesting from your guys' perspective when we bring back the greatness of whether it's 72, 73, 74, guys from the late 80s. Just what does that mean for you? And you want your players to, hey, this is what this franchise has done.
Yeah, the history is so important. And first of all, David Feldman, no one knows the history better than he has. He knows more baseball than everybody who's in this ballpark combined.
You weren't even alive in 73,
no,
right?
I sure
was one. I was joking around, but I'm like, yeah, I didn't know. Those teams.
David's been here the whole time I've been here. He's an incredible resource, so much fun to talk baseball with. So great to have him on. But to see the history, and we, obviously last year we had it with the 2002 team. But when these World Series teams come back, the 72, 73, 74, and our players see, like you said, what it looked like and what this team meant to this community and to the city, it's great. And I heard David say during your interview, not having Ray around anymore is such an important link to those teams. And he was so great about talking about those eras and representing what those eras meant. And Ray's missed for so many reasons, but obviously that's a huge one. But it'll be so much fun to see those guys out on the field Saturday.
I got to be honest with you, all the years doing this, and I've interviewed these guys over the years, but I think as I've gotten older and I know where they are, like last year and this year, I'm really trying to appreciate it because we're not going to have too many of these, and we've lost our beloved Ray Fosse and so many of these players. I mean, it's so everybody come out on Sunday and honor these players because I don't know how many more times we're going to be able to do this.
No, you're right. And obviously Sal Bando's gone now. We lost Sal. So it's really nice to honor them, remember what they accomplished. And again, how much, that team that hadn't been in this town for that long meant and bringing world championships here.
Now, I know the start, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I know you're not happy about it, right? I mean, you're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough first 2 weeks. I mean, we hit the ground running with a pitching staff that was, sort of put together late and was missing Paul Blackburn and Drew Rucinski to begin with. And the domino effect has been really hard. I mean, those are, for all intents and purposes, our two most experienced guys and our two best strike throwers. And that's what we're hurting right now. We're hurting guys with experience. We're hurting throwing strikes. I think we're, second to last in the game in walks and not striking a lot of guys out. So right now the pitching staff is hurting. They're trying to pick each other up. These guys are young. They're having a hard time getting through games, and the bullpen's getting worked. And I know Kotz and Emo are trying to do their best to keep guys fresh, but it's snowballed on us in a hurry.
Yeah, walks and hit batters, those things you just can't defend always come back to hurt you. So give us the timeline because I know Rucinski just threw 2 innings down at AAA.
Yeah.
Paul Blackburn has recently thrown. How fast do you think we can get him here?
But by the end of the month is our hope. I mean, each guy has at least a couple more starts to make in Vegas. We got, the thing about getting these guys back is you need them with a full complement of pitches when they get here. Just as much as we've worked our bullpen, as much difficulty as we've seen getting starters into the 5th inning and beyond, we need them to have their 100 pitches when they get here. So it's a couple more starts each.
How important is it for you, because you've been doing this for so long, that you can kind of calm down Mark Kotze? You can kind of calm down the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to say you like mentor them, but there is that relationship where they're in the battle, man. They're on the field, they're grinding,
right,
and they're not sleeping at night. How much do you have to help them through this process?
Look, Kotz and I do that for each other. And the fact that we have such a long history has been really helpful, and the trust that's there. I mean, we talk every night. Sometimes we give each other a little more time after a game than other nights. But it's important to talk. It's important that he knows that he has our support, that the coaching staff knows that. And we talk about the processes and what they're doing before the game, because a lot of the results are out of our control right now, which is too bad. But they know, we understand where we're at. They know that we're looking at how hard these guys are working and trying, and that's important. And they keep grinding. I mean, I talked to Kotz every day on that road trip, talked about the coaches getting in early, putting in the early work on the field. Like, these guys are grinding. They're going to grind it out. We just need to see the results turn.
Now, the thing about the Orioles series that you start to notice, especially when you keep score of every single game, is how everybody was contributing. Every single guy, all 1 through 9, and then all of a sudden you look up, I think it was 44 hits in the series. It was, 24 runs scored. You had to feel better about the Baltimore series offensively.
For sure. I mean, the offense in general has done their part for the most part. We out-hit the Rays one of those games down there, and there have been some real bright spots. Obviously, Rook's day yesterday was great to see. Estes had really good at-bats. Noda fitting in the 2-hole and getting on base. I mean, there are some bright spots. And then outside of those guys, there are some veterans who have the track record you expect they're going to figure it out. Aledmus is going to be better. Jace is going to hit better. Tony's going to get back on track. We'll get Brownie back hopefully in just a couple of weeks. So there are some bright spots on the offense, and you feel good about the 7 runs we put up yesterday, the win on Wednesday there. So I feel good about where the offense is and that it's going to continue to get better.
I love Noda, and every single time he gets on base, I text Cody, what does he do? He gets on base. Going back to Moneyball, he gets on base.
He does. He just has to be who he is. I talked to Ryan about this right before the season. I mean, we took him in that Rule 5 draft because he gets on base, because he's got that sneaky pop. And I told him, just be who you are. You don't have to do anything more. And for him to be comfortable in the 2-hole right now, for Kotz to put him there, know that he's going to set the table for some of those guys, it's big step 2 weeks into his career.
I remember when we talked to you about how you acquired Cole Irvin, and you went through this elaborate, we liked him years ago out of Oregon, and we've been following him. You're like, wow, you've been following this guy forever. And I think it's been brought to us like, hey, Rooker's kind of like Brandon Moss now. And I think Rooker to me, I'm just going to guess, is a guy that you liked. Coming out of the SEC, you liked him a lot. Yeah. You've been following him. You've been saying, he just fits that guy that you've liked for a long time, that you brought in, and boy, he's starting to hit on what you believed in.
Yeah, I mean, to see him have a day like yesterday to break out and show that power. But to answer your question, yeah, I remember what we wrote in some of our amateur reports in 2017 when he was in college and talking about the power. He was playing first base at the time, and weren't quite sure he was a first baseman, but he was athletic enough to play the outfield. But you remember those things. The guy goes in the comp round. You sort of remember what we thought of him, and then he bounces around. He ends up on waivers a couple times, and you know that hopefully it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time for him. And I'd love to see him continue this streak he's on.
Like, how much would you say it's a gamble when you bring him in, has a good spring? You made a choice to not have Pache here. How much is that a gamble? And what is that like for the front office where you go, as of right now, not everything's paying off. That's paying off.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's a little more scientific than a gamble. I mean, obviously in the decision to not have Pache here, that decision's irreversible. We couldn't send him down to the minor leagues. So when you talk about designating a guy and having to trade him, that's something you can't take back. So it's a little more meaningful than other decisions. But Brent earned this. I mean, we claimed him off waivers because of the year he had in AAA last year and because of the potential that was there. He came into spring training and had quality at-bats all of March. We talked about it constantly. And when it came down to the decision, what was going to be better for us now and what did we think was going to play over the long haul, he was the guy.
I know you've made some moves. I want to get to that, but I got a soft spot. When you're in this game long enough and you know how hard it is, to stay here and make a living. When I see someone like Carlos Perez do what he has done the last 2 days, I mean, he's 6 for 8, a dinger, 2 RBIs, knowing everything that he's been through, and to see that, it's kind of what makes our game special because you don't see that in other sports.
This guy basically had no spring training. I mean, we signed him. He had spent 1 day with a team in Mexico. I don't think he'd even gotten on the field. I think he just had a physical. So then we bring him to minor league camp, takes a physical there, takes BP the next day, maybe gets in 1 minor league game. We bring him over. I mean, I wish I could do anything as well as he rolls out of bed and hits major league pitching. It's amazing what he's done. He's a total pro, picks up our pitching staff quickly. In a situation that we were in with Manny being out for an extended period of time, he's the perfect guy to find and plug in.
When he hit the home run, when was the last? I had to look. It was May 18th of 2018.
Except
that's amazing.
Except he's hit 30 a year in AAA between then and now. You know that he can hit, but just to come into the situation and be comfortable and play a position like that, it's pretty amazing what he's been able to do.
All right, so we got Hogan Harris. Obviously, he was 2018 draft pick. He was a third rounder, I think he was, third rounder. And you got Tyler Wade, infielder, going to come up. He can play a lot of different positions for you. Oller and Allen go down.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Allen goes down because you want him to play.
100%. Nick needs to play. Yeah, he's 24 years old. He can't be a utility guy right now. And, a little bit like what we talked about Rooker. Kevin Smith had a great spring. Didn't make the team out of camp, but went down and hit a bunch of homers already in the first 10 days there and deserves an opportunity. So he's going to play here. Obviously, Aledmus gets some time at short too, and Nick needs to go play. So our expectation as he goes, he plays shortstop every day, gets his legs under him, gets his hits down there, he'll be back. So, these things are fluid as the year goes along. And with Hogan, that's no secret. We needed more length in the bullpen. And he's started down there. He's got stretched out. Adam used up 80-plus pitches yesterday, and that's just kind of the natural course of the season.
Cal Stevenson, who we had on this program, local kid, was that a tough call?
It was, absolutely. There's never a good name that sort of comes up in the designated conversation, particularly this time of year when you're going to need the full extent of the 40-man roster. And Cal did nothing wrong. His number's up right now in terms of the positions and how our roster looks.
So Harris, what's the plan?
Harris is in the bullpen. He'll be ready to go, whether it's today, tomorrow, Sunday. Obviously Adrian came in, threw out of the pen yesterday. We need some length. And if Kotz has to go to the pen early in the game or get some extended innings, Hogan's going to get thrown right in there.
I try and tell people all the time because I did that role.
Yeah.
The long reliever, I try and tell people, don't look at the numbers. You need innings.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to have to be the sacrificial lamb. But here we live in a world where guys prepare once every 5 days. They get to go out on the day of their start. They get the massage. They get to run their poles, play long toss, do all of that, and then they get to start. And if it goes bad, you got a guy who's just sitting there, and you go, well, you didn't get all that. You didn't get the massage.
Yeah.
You didn't get – now we need you to go in and now get us a bunch of innings and be like a starter.
Yeah.
It is such a hard role.
It's difficult. And that's why, to watch what Adrian's done these first 2 weeks, he's pitched great. And to be fair, Adam did a nice job as well in Tampa last weekend. He just used up his allotment yesterday and the pen got burned. But Adrian's come in, he's thrown strikes, he's given us 2 to 3 innings at a time, and he's ready every 2 or 3 days. That's the other thing. These guys throw extended outings, and you got to turn right around and be ready again, because until we sort of get the starting rotation back, get some of this water out of the boat, we're going to keep going to the bullpen.
That's what's so tough for Emo and Mark Kotze is like you're sitting there, your starters have thrown 58 innings while your bullpen's thrown 55. It's just that's not the recipe you want.
No, it's not. And we don't, I know it's been written, we don't have a win yet from our starting rotation. Ken pitched great the other night on Wednesday and put us in a position to win, but, didn't get the win. So until we can start getting some 6+ inning outings from our guys and start getting some wins from that rotation, we're going to constantly sort of be in flux.
When you look at the data when building a bullpen, year after year, it's so hard to find consistency.
Yeah.
Nobody has. It's like there's 30 teams. I'm like nobody has, and there's so many guys you switch. How hard is it to build a consistent bullpen?
It's hard. There are elite guys who are consistent year to year. Those are the closers. Those are the multi-million-dollar guys. Everyone else, it's hard to be consistent because when you're good, when you're pitching when you're pitching well and throwing the ball well, the manager wants you out there, and they use you, and they use you, and they use you. And just the nature of the position, you're going to get burnt out. So it's tough to be consistent out there. That's why, like I said, the guys who are the best, they're getting paid.
We'll let you go on this. Expectations for this homestand, Mets, they're just a game over 500, high expectations there. Cubs are better than people thought too.
For sure. 2 tough teams. The Mets are as high profile as it gets. I think their payroll is about 6x what we are right now. So it's tough. It's tough to go out there and match up. We got 3 good pitchers going against us. I haven't seen Senga in person, but I've seen enough to know we got our hands full tonight, and the Scherzer guy on Sunday's okay too. So, our guys are going to grind. We're going to go out there and play hard and try and get 1 or 2 out of this weekend, try and get 1 or 2 out of the Cubs and try and start winning some series.
Let's just be honest. Everybody in the game looks at how much money the Mets are spending, and everybody just goes, it's an incredible amount to pay anybody that kind of money just to play a sport. It's incredible.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, unbelievable. But thank you for your time.
All right.
What do you want? It's on me.
Yeah, Blue Moon, I'm in.
Blue Moon for the GM. That's David Forst. What do we got? What do we got next, Cody? Where are we going?
We're supposed to have Kevin Smith come up here. So
Anything you
All
want
right.
me to ask Kevin Smith?
No, just he needs to keep doing what he's doing.
That's what I told him. I said, we saw him today. I said, I told you in spring you'd be back quick. I told you back. Appreciate,
I told him too.
appreciate the time.